Oh God. So a few days ago. Oh shit! Hang on a minute. I'm not getting two voices thing, am I? Right. So a few days ago. um. Actually, no. It was a few weeks ago. I think. Maybe 3 weeks ago. Um. I was talking about the issue with uh, milk, where a lot of the milk is basically it's got 4% less fat on it, 5% less fat. Now, I've actually spoken to a few people who've also confirmed that the same situation. That this milk doesn't taste right. It doesn't taste like normal fat milk. Now, I grew up in the countryside. You know, I was little and like 5 or 6 years old. We used to go to the school, and back in the 60s, they actually gave us these um, little glass bottles. They were like quarter pint little bottles of milk in the classroom, and because it was good for you, you know, it was good for you when you're growing up. And I remember those days when I was little, and so you knew what milk is supposed to taste like. It was all, you know, it's pasteurized. It was good for you. Nobody ever got sick. Nobody ever got sick. I mean, from the milk. I mean, obviously we got colds and things like that. So anyway, this was going through the 70s, and at some point they took it away from us. They took it away from the schools where you no longer got the free milk, and I could never understand why, because it was beneficial to kids growing up at the time. Anyway, so when the local shops, when they recently stopped providing full milk, as in whole milk, and they started to force us to basically buy this. There's two types. There was they changed the colour cap on the caps. Instead of blue, it was white. And you're asking yourself, why? What's wrong? Why are you changing everything? Why could you keep changing everything? You're taking away all the good stuff, and you're putting all this crap in our food and our drinks and everything. And it's aspartame. I've talked about this before. Aspartame is really bad. My brother died. He had a seizure, and it causes seizures. It's on the sweetpoison.com website. My mother died in agony because she had cancer, and it causes cancer. It basically actually is stomach acid, and it produces trace amounts of formaldehyde in your gut, and that's very, very deadly. My dad used to work in a leather factory for a while back in Beverley before they shut that down, and it was changed into a museum now and everything. But back then, it was a leather what do you call it? The tanning factory. That was it. They used to tan leather, and they used to use formaldehyde. One drop of that stuff on your skin, and you were dead. It was really bad stuff. I used to come home at night wearing a great big, massive, heavy rubber suit, and a face mask and all sorts of stuff. And you couldn't get that stuff on you. It was deadly. So when I recently was reading about the chemical structure of this formaldehyde, I mean this aspartame, which actually created trace amounts of formaldehyde in your gut, I was horrified. I was absolutely horrified. And I mean the chemical, it's bad stuff. So you're going to a store now, and not only can't you, most shops, most stores are all selling this 5% or 4% less fat milk. One milk brand says it's skim milk, The other brand says it's whole milk, but it's not whole milk because it still says 4% less fat on it, so it's not whole milk, right? It's hypocritical. It is hypocrisy. They're trying to sell us something now which they claim is whole milk, and it doesn't taste anything like milk used to taste. It used to be good for you, but I don't know what they're putting in it. But I had a bit of an issue with one of these stores, these shops around here. I said, well, where do I go now? Because they're selling it, they're selling it, they're selling it, and I don't know where to go to get ordinary milk. And not just milk, this sweet poison crap, you know, these diet drinks with aspartame and isotherm. It's also isotherm, that's just as bad. The shelves are full of this stuff, right? This sweet poison, as I call it, because that's what it is. But most people don't want it because they've got wise to it, and they've seen the side effects: cramps in your legs, you can have heart palpitations, you can have all sorts of psychological issues, dizzy spells, headaches, even blindness. Some people reported blindness if you drink too much of the stuff. And I was having severe leg cramps in the middle of the night until I figured out, when I first discovered it, after my dad died, when I first discovered this stuff was causing me severe pain in my legs, and I stopped drinking it. It took months before I actually was able to get that stuff out of my system, because it gets in your freaking bones. It gets in your freaking bones because your body doesn't know what to do with it. And after I was able to get over the problems of the pain in my legs and everything, I was damaged after that. It caused me a lot of damage. And so now I have to read the labels on just about everything. Even yogurts have got it in, this aspartame. It's like all the stuff that we used to take for granted that used to be good for you. I'm not just talking about these fizzy drinks. They even taste different. I remember when I was a kid, fizzy drinks used to taste really nice. Used to taste like they've got real fruit in them, and they did it. They had real fruit in them. There was my neighbour. He's been buying this bottle of I forgot what we call it now. He'd been buying it for many years. He said you can stick it on the shelf, you can drink some of it, put the lid on, put it in your shelf, put it in your fridge, and it would keep for weeks. It would keep for weeks because it had stuff in it which was natural, it had preservatives, normal sugar in it. And then they changed the recipe and they took the sugar out and they put this aspartame in it. One day he said to me, "This is bad. I can't drink it. It's gone bad." And he said, "I'm writing to the manufacturer. I'm going to the supplier. I'm going to complain about this because it's bad, and it's not what it used to be." And I wish I could remember what it was now, but I probably shouldn't say anyway because it's, you know, brand names and all this stuff, and you can get into trouble and all that. But he also noticed a change in the quality of the standards. Food standards have gone way, way down. A few weeks ago, I think it was last week actually, I went into the store, and not only are we being restricted on what milk we can buy. Oh, I did find another supplier of the good milk, by the way. I'm not going to mention it because they might say, Big Brother might be watching and say, "Oh, we need to stop them from getting it." Yeah, that's what happens. But I did manage to find another supplier of good milk, so I can still get it, and it's not too far away. But, so, I don't know, 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 I don't know last week I goes into the store to buy some eggs. And for years, all I've ever bought is brown eggs, you know. Brown eggs. Ordinary brown eggs. You know, chicken eggs. And I looked on the shelf, and they're all white eggs. And I was thinking, what? What's happened? What's happened to all the brown eggs? Where? So I asked the woman behind the counter, I said, how comes you've got no brown eggs? And she says, well, because the new people who are moving in, the immigration people who are moving in, they prefer the white eggs. So what's the really difference? Anyway, so I goes and looks online. I did a search and tried to figure out what's different between white eggs and brown eggs. And the answer I got back was that there's no difference. There's no difference between white eggs and brown eggs. It's just how they look, the appearance. So are they now discriminate against brown chickens? Because apparently it's the brown hens that lay brown eggs and the white hens lay white eggs, right? This is stupid. Then I sees a video. I sees a video the other day. If I can find it, I'll put a link in the description for you to go and check out. Dr. Renee, is it Dr. Renee? Anyway, she said the government are banning brown eggs, right? Why? There's no freaking difference between brown eggs and white eggs. I've just looked that up. There's no freaking difference. And she says, oh, in the video, she says it's because the government thinks that brown eggs are more environmentally unfriendly than white eggs. Have these people gone mad? Really, have they gone totally bonkers? It's all organic. It's natural. We've had freaking dinosaurs that were probably black and grey and all sorts of different colours running around on this planet thousands of years ago. What, millions of years ago. So what's the freaking difference between brown eggs and white eggs? Just because I like the look of a brown egg when I'm boiling it in my pan, maybe I can see it better when you put it in a pan. You got a silver pan and you can see the brown egg bobbing about when it's boiling. You can see it more easily than a white one, especially if you've got other stuff in there. I just don't get it. I just don't get it at all. I mean, it's just stupid. You can go online, you can search, and you can ask the question, you ask AI the question even. What's the difference between brown eggs, brown chicken eggs, and white chicken eggs? And the answer is, there is no taste difference. The only difference is that the white eggs are laid by white hens and the brown eggs were laid by brown hens. So is the government discriminating against brown chickens? So this is kind of weird because for years we're being told not to discriminate against brown people or black people, and we're being called racist if there's an issue between a white person and a brown person. Yet they're discriminating against the brown chickens. Huh? I don't get this. What's going on here? There's something really weird going on here. I mean, so white eggs are okay, but brown eggs are not. It's all it is pigment. All it is pigment. For God's sake, some people got red hair, some people got black hair, some people have got, well, dye the hair that's blue or something. What's the freaking difference? It's just pigment, coloration. There is no difference. They just want to basically poke us and say, you're going to have these, and because we say so. And even if you prefer what you used to, it's like they're drawing a line in the sand and saying, well, you're going to have this now. Or is there some secret? Is there something that they know that we don't know? That maybe they want to do something to our eggs that would show up in the brown eggs but won't show up in the white eggs. Who knows? God only knows. Because there's been weird things like that to do with science. And so I just can't figure this out. You know, it doesn't make no sense to me, because I probably don't have all the details about why they're doing it, but there must be a reason. So what next? And we already know that they're trying to discourage us from eating meat, because they've been at that for years. And the farmers are struggling to survive right now, as we know. The farmers have been really hit hard with all these freaking inheritance tax. They're trying to put farmers out of business. Farmland's been bought up by industries and big rich tycoons like Bill Gates in America. God knows if he's bought any land over here. I hope not, because if he does, we'll never get farming. Oh, we'll never get what's the word? Organic farming back ever again, because he wants to produce artificial foods and freaking genetically modified foods and all sorts of stuff like that, which is what we've been against for decades. Everyone in this country said, no, we don't want GMOs, we don't want it, please don't give us GMOs. For years in England we've said, no, we want organic. And you can go into nearly every store and find organic produce. But how organic is it? Because as time goes by, as we know, things change, and things get lax and slack, and over time we lose the quality. We have got this pretty strict thing that a lot of suppliers of food, like takeaways, they have to have this certificate which says what about the hygiene and qualities of the shop that's selling this produce. How, you know, between 1 and 5 or something. I think it is 1 and 5. And if you got 5, then you're top. You're the best, right? I heard rumours recently. I'm not sure if it's true or not. I heard recently rumours that they were going to stop putting on packaging the ingredients, and the sell-by date might be less accurate. I don't know if that's true or not, but I have noticed that some produce that you buy, it has a QR code on it, and it says if you wish to know what is inside this food, you have to go online to read about it. Well, when I see those things, I'm thinking, no thank you, I'll go and get something else. I'm not going to spend my entire life clicking on QR codes to go and read what they've been putting in our food. Imagine walking around the freaking shop with your phone and you're having to go for all this internet stuff just to check one item. I haven't got time for all that shit. You know, I want to know, I want to see it on the packaging. I want to read it. I want to say, yeah, this has got blah blah in it, allergy advice and all that stuff, you know. It's got this in it, it's got that. I don't want it because it's got gluten in it. I don't want to be buying something that might have gluten in it where I've got allergies to. And if they want to hide all that stuff from us, and we've got to go on the internet to look it up. Why? Because they want to track what we're looking at. They want to see who's paying attention. It's all track and trace stuff now. Track and trace. They want to know everything we do, everything we look at, everything we read. And it's annoying. It's annoying. We didn't have all this nonsense back in the 60s. You could trust what you bought. You could trust it. The food was better. Everything tasted better back in the 60s and the 70s. And over the decades, things have just steadily getting worse and worse and worse, and we're paying more and more and more. So anyway, I just wanted to have a rant about that, because I just don't know what other people are thinking out there. I mean, you know, you've got to stick with your local producers, local farming produce. You know, go to your markets, go to your local markets, and you know, stick with that. Try to avoid all the processed foods if you can, because it's the processed foods where the problem is. You go to a market, an open market or a farmer's market, you've got to support your farmers, because they're trying to crush our farmers and put them all out of business. Our farmers are the only ones we can really trust, because you don't get this fucking QR code nonsense. You go, you buy fresh produce that's not being messed with. Well, hopefully it's not being messed with, but then we do hear stories that there are certain genetically altered species regarding fruit, you know, seedless oranges, for example, and seedless grapes. I have some oranges. I was looking to see if I had one here actually, but I'll go in the kitchen to get it. We've been noticing that a lot of our fruit is being altered, which it shouldn't have been. Genetically altered at the source. And what can you do about that? The source, the producer of foods, if that's been interfered with, I honestly think when I look at some of this food and it looks kind of distorted, it looks like it's been genetically altered in some way that it looks a little bit deformed. Certain types of food, like especially oranges, I've noticed, sometimes it looks like they've got little bumps on the top, like it's not normal. It's just, it looks like it's been changed somehow. And when I see those, I think, oh, I'll get another one, I'll get one that looks a bit, but they're all pretty much the same anyway. They're all coming from the same supplier, same source, and you just, it's worrying, it's worrying. You don't know what you're eating anymore. The stuff that from the market you might think it's natural, you might think it's coming from a good source, but you don't know, because there's no labels on it. You don't know if it's been changed, and all you see is a label that says seedless, and you think, well, it's been changed because it's seedless. They've done something to it so it doesn't produce seeds, and that's not normal. But we do know that the genetically modified organism community, or scientists, grow our own food, so they want to make us more dependent on GMOs. So even though we're against GMOs, we're still being forced it. It's still being forced upon us. And I mean, what do you do? What can you do? I mean, we're stuck, aren't we? We're not like we were back in the 30s and 40s. My grandma had a great big orchard. She had cooking apples growing in her orchard. She had fresh, sweet apples growing in her orchard. She had cabbages growing there. Beetroot. What was it? Yeah, I think she had beetroot down there as well. There was rhubarb growing, fresh rhubarb growing in her own garden. There was mint. She had mint growing in her garden. She used to make lovely mint sauce. It was yummy. You can't beat it. And you go to a store now, you buy mint sauce. I mean, it doesn't taste so bad really, but you don't know. I mean, you don't know if it's been changed or not. So many things have been changed, and they're not natural anymore. And but I think as you get older, some people will say, well, your taste buds will change as you get older. You probably don't taste things like you used to do. And I said, well, yeah, that's true. But there are some things which just don't taste right at all. If they've got a bitter aftertaste to them, I wouldn't want to taste it. I wouldn't want to drink it or use it. You know, and that's what I've noticed with some of these brands of milk that 4% less fat. How do they do that? Do they put something in the milk to separate the cream from the rest of the milk? Because they must do something, because it just tastes like there's a chemical in there that shouldn't be there, and I can taste it. That's why I won't drink it, because I put it in my coffee. It tastes like, you know, it tastes absolutely foul. It's like drinking acid to me, and I won't drink it. But there are some brands that, I mean, if it curdles in your cup, you know, you get like, this is alright because I'm using good milk. I don't want to tip it out onto my, oh shit, my wire's too short. This is, doesn't skin over. This doesn't skin over. But, oh, it's gone cold anyway. But if you get your milk curdling just in a cup of tea or coffee, that's a sign that there's something wrong with the milk. Unless it's gone off, obviously. If it's gone off, then it will curdle. But I spoke to the guy who works at the local market recently, and he told me that many brands of milk, they're actually putting preservatives in it to prolong the life of the milk. I thought, that could be why that freaking low-fat milk is tasting weird, because it's got something they've added to it. They've put some sort of preservative. Have you noticed how you can buy 1 or 2 litres of milk and the expiry date is like maybe 2 weeks away? Oh my God, 2 weeks! Now, when I was little, you were lucky if your milk stayed fresh for 3 days. So we would get, it was in glass bottles as well. It wasn't in plastic bottles like it is now. It was in a glass bottle with a silver top, and you would have to drink it within 2 or 3 days. Probably 4 to 5 days, maybe, if you were lucky. Depends if it was high temperatures and, you know, the humid, you know, if it's summer or winter. Milk would stay longer in winter, last longer in winter anyway. But that's why we had milkmen. The milkman would come round every morning at probably crack of dawn, at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and they would deliver a bottle or maybe 2 or 3 bottles of milk to your house on your doorstep, and you would go out and you would pick up your bottle of milk every morning, take them in the house, put them in your fridge, whatever, and that's the way it used to be. People used to get a daily delivery of milk from the milkman. If you doubt that, you can go and search Normal Wisdom's. Normal Wisdom did a movie, comedy, when he was playing this milkman, and that's a pretty classic. That movie is totally classic as to what British life used to be like getting your milk delivered, and he was having a big fallout with this guy. Or was it Mr. Grimsdale? I can't remember. No, it wasn't Mr. Grimsdale. They stayed together in the same house or something. Anyway, I'm getting distracted again. But that's how it was. Milk didn't have a very high shelf life. Now, what's weird is now milk lasts longer, but a lot of the other stuff is JIT, which is just in time, right? JIT. So you go to the shop, you buy certain types of food off the shelf, and you're lucky if it's going to last you 2 days. Well, milk lasts a whole freaking week or two. What? How comes it's only got 2 days on it? Oh my God, it's expiring today. I've got to eat it now. But canned foods, that's different. Canned foods, you can keep them months. You can keep canned goods a lot longer than you can other types of food, unless it's dry rice. That will usually keep longer, especially if you keep it cool. There are certain types of foods which... Oh, that's the thing. I've got this bag of rice. I forgot about it. It was in my old fridge. It's not a fridge anymore. It's just a cupboard now, but it's at the back. And I realised it had expired like 5 years ago, and I took it out. I thought, oh, well, I'll just use it for testing my robot vacuum to see if it can pick up the rice. And it can. It does a pretty good job. I might show you that, actually. I might show you that. It's pretty cool. Does a really good job, does that robot vacuum. I might actually do that. I'm forgetting what I was going to say now. Yeah, well, there are some foods anyway that you just can't. Just don't keep. So canned goods are the best for longevity, whatever the word is. I think it's longevity, and you can keep them for a lot longer. I can't actually use my robot vacuum right now because I'm live streaming, and I'd have to minimize the app, and then I'd have to run the other app, and it works if I do a video and record the screen, but not when I'm doing live streaming. It'll probably mess it up, so I'll have to do that another time. Anyway, so I think I'm going to go because I can't remember what I was going to say. I think I've said enough anyway, but thanks for watching. So see you later. I'll probably think what it was. It'll probably come back to me when I've ended the stream. It usually does. Anyway, see you later.